A very good afternoon to all the members present here. I welcome you all to this webinar hosted by College Dunia and the North Cap University, which is aligned with the theme Want to do in Engineering? Let's talk. So, as we all are going through the tough times of COVID 19 and looking at the state of affairs, we do understand that you all must be trying to look at the impact of COVID 19 on higher education in India, how the colleges are going to make a shift to online classes due to pandemic. So we all are here today to discuss few of such points, and to take the discussion further, we have with us Professor H.P. Raghavendra, Vice Chancellor, the North Cap University. We have with us Dr. Kavita Khanna, Head of the Department Computer Science and Engineering at the North Cap University. And we also have with us Dr. Sharda Vashisht, who is Head of Electronics and Communication Department at the North Cap University. So, taking this session ahead and not taking much of your time, I now pass on this webinar to Professor H.V. Raghavendra. We welcome you, sir, and please take up ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, the panelists, the delegation from College Dunia, and the participants of this webinar, Wanna Do Engineering, hosted by the North Cap University. Myself, being the Vice Chancellor, holds the responsibility to address how we are going about the unprecedented scenario in the wake of this COVID-19. And I understand the participants are looking for some answers to these uncertain conditions, and we are going to discuss those things in this seminar. You know, the title of this is Wanna Do Engineering. Let us talk. The title very clearly says that yes, engineering is a career, and you have lot of opportunities as on today to choose your career, choose your university and organization, and also choose your own specialization. However, let us understand what is the future of engineering. For that, engineering should be defined first. Always engineering is defined as that particular engineering is defined as that particular specialization which gives comfort to the society. So always engineers are responsible for creating comfort in the society, and society needs comfort every time, everywhere. And the changes in the society have to be adopted by the engineers, and they form the core in the society to create the comfort level. In this particular manner, the countries around the globe, they spend lot of their GDP over creating comfort. And hello, the
So
countries
please continue.
spend, yes, countries spend most part of their GDP and on these the avenues to create comfort, and engineers are the responsible bunch of the society which are going to take up and create this comfort. So as long as the society needs comfort, engineers are needed, and as a career option, engineering is always there. If you go by the statistics, 40% of the world job market is occupied by the employment engineering disciplines. So it is needless to say, this is one of the top-notch career opportunities for each and everybody. Hence, engineering will be in demand always and in future too. Having said that, it is my duty to say how the engineering will change in future. What are the different types and how it is going to shift the gear in future. As you know, we were talking about the online courses almost 2 to 3 years ago now, and now we have started shifting to those courses. However, these 1.5 months of this unprecedented atmosphere has come as a boon to the higher education and making it shift its gear, and most of the higher education institutions are on the positive way to get online and provide least disturbance and disruption for their students. In this way, engineering will help the society to move along. We have so many other things also. One is, okay, how the engineering university should be there. What are the things that you can look out from any institution for that matter? It should connect the innovation, it should connect the entrepreneurship, it should connect the social activities, and also it should connect the individuals. So these are all the four pillars of any institution, and engineering will adopt these things and go along. So engineering is the career which don't have any stops, and it will be a career for future also. With these few words, I hope I am going to talk to you about the Indian scenario, how India is placed. The government of India has already promoted an export council for engineering products, and it has the maximum 2.5 lakh crore has been given for the infrastructure development. You might have heard of the creation of smart cities. Around 150 cities are identified for smart cities. And all these, engineering will have a credible contribution and also the expenditure. So there is no dearth of opportunity in engineering, and one can choose this as a career without any further thought. With this, I will hand over to the Jyotika, who is my colleague. Thank you.
So thank you so
Jyotika?
much, Professor Raghavendra. Yeah, yes, I think you very well highlighted the facts that how engineering is going to be the future, and especially as we all are going through this pandemic situation, I think we do need ample amount of good engineers in the nation. So with this, we pass over this webinar to Dr. Sharda Vashisht, and let's hear from you, Dr. Sharda, what you have to say about the cutting technologies and the trends and the disruptions. So over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jyotika, and good afternoon to all. Can I have my presentation on, Jyotika? Yeah, thank you so much. So I'll walk you through my presentation. Engineering. I'll talk about the factors on which one should the very first factor is industry-centric curriculum. the curriculum should not be age-old curriculum. It should be project-based learning, whatever and that all should be handled by system available for placements in the universities so that the students can be helped at the end to get good placements. University should have focus on holistic pedagogy. And then at the end, university should have everything all of a sudden has gone online. So it should not focus using a university. Then I'll talk about the core engineering branches. So these 4 branches have always driving force in the industry. We need to choose the specialization tracks. The cutting going to change everything in a very innovative way, be it a business or exist. And we can see that technologies like digital industrial mixed reality, generative designs, renewable energy. This is happening all technologies which are actually going, and on the basis of these disruptive, so the lot of learning is going to take place now. Innovation is happening. It is artificial intelligence, it is a data science, it is Internet of Things. So we have to learn a lot, and that's why the engineers of the future will not resemble the engineers of the past. So the I'll take branch wise. Electronics and communication engineering, industry requirement now, future trends, things, embedded systems and VLSI design. So Internet of Things, I think nowadays everybody understands everything is connected to internet. All the devices.
So, Dr. Sharda, I'm so sorry to interrupt. Your voice is breaking. Can you please switch off your camera?
Visualizations are important. Is all the field and color.
Dr. Sharda, I request you to switch off your camera. Yeah.
I clearly audible now. Okay, so the Internet of Things is yeah, those are connecting and switched it off. They are communicating with each.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible now.
This is the technology which is now is happening. All the devices, sensor. So this is the next big thing in the technology. And the last 3 years, we have seen 300% in the acceleration in the requirement of the skilled professionals. Then the next big thing in electronics and communication engineering is embedded systems and VLSI design. Nowadays, our VLSI design. So if we talk about and IoT chips are miniature, so there are a lot of scope in VLSI design to designing very large with you all about market trends for Internet of Things. See, as per IoT analytics, the global market for Internet of Things, if we talk about end user spending on a solution, is expected to go from $151 billion to $156 billion by 2025. So a lot happens in this area. Automotive industry is expected to be, we talk about IoT ecosystem. They are continuously evolving. Among the top 4 industries in terms of the market. Dixon Mobility Report, November 2019, will be growth rate of 25% compound annual growth rate for cellular IT connection. Similarly, if we talk about embedded systems and VLSI design market trends, so the global things happening, as I just talked about, the machine learning, artificial intelligence, all our design service market is now becoming a key contributor. India is now home for almost all semiconductor giants, be Intel, Cadence, Mentor Graphics, you name any, and all are here. Companies in India and information technology.
So, Dr. Sharda, since your voice is breaking a lot, we'll come over to you if we'll have some time left. So, I think Dr. Kavita should take over the presentation now from here onwards. So, Dr. Kavita, as you come from computer science background, I think you will be very well able to throw some light on the specializations and especially the term Industry 4.0 that has become a buzzword these days. And also, we have many queries coming up in the question answer section, wherein especially Pushpendra wants to know about Industry 4.0, and many other students and parents are inquiring about it. So, over to you, Dr. Kavita.
Well, talking for Industry 4.0, from Industrial Revolution 1 to Industry 4.0, in fact, there has been a significant change in the manufacturing processes. So when Industrial Revolution 1 came in late 18th century, and when steam engines were invented, it was believed that it would eliminate manual labor. But what happened? What happened was it created totally new verticals and thus created.
So as she was discussing about Industry 4.0, so there has basically been transition from Industry 1.0 to Industry 4.0. So earlier we used to do manual tasks. There was a lot of labor involved, but now what happened is the tasks started becoming automated. So basically answering this question that has been asked by the audience in the question answer round, that what is Industry 4.0? So day by day, as the tasks are being automated now, we basically make it throw under the umbrella of Industry 4.0, basically automation of tasks that were used to be done manually. So moving forward, when we talk about what are the jobs that have been displaced before and what are the jobs that are created by Industry 4.0 is something like McKinsey has beautifully stated that between 408 million current occupations, they all would be displaced by 2030. And there has to be displacement of repetitive jobs in areas such as production, assembly, administration, quality control, and planning. So when we talk particularly about Industry 4.0, that's the future wherein we say that these are some of the promising jobs that are shown on the slide on the right hand side. You talk about data scientists, you talk about robot coordinators, you talk about IoT solution architects, analysts, you talk about industrial computer programmers, or maybe UI UX designers. So these are the jobs that are all falling under Industry 4.0. That's a bigger umbrella. So when we say it's a bigger umbrella, there are many different specializations that are basically falling in Industry 4.0. So these are the specializations particularly that are being offered at NCU. So you basically call it as data science, that has everything to do with the analysis of the data, the visualizations. Then you have got artificial intelligence and machine learning. So which are again buzzwords these days, and which basically deals with with making of the machines as intelligent as the humans are. And so it's very difficult, and hence it's a long way to go to make machines work as fast as the humans do, which is, I think, a big challenge. So we are not going to fall short of the jobs, I think, in these domains. And then if you talk about cloud computing, we know how the data these days is being stored on cloud. All of you are using iPhones or maybe Google Cloud storages, and we see that how beautifully the data gets stored on the cloud, and we never fall short of memory these days. And taking it forward, we also have few domains like cybersecurity and forensics. I think all of the students present here must have heard of terms like something has attacked my system or a virus has entered my system. So that's wherein the concept of cybersecurity and forensics come into the picture. And then similarly, you have the field of blockchain, wherein you talk about cryptocurrencies, you talk about bitcoins. And then another interesting field, which is game technology, gaming, augmented reality, virtual reality. So this is one another very interesting area, and a market is really booming in this sector as well. And then there is another specialization which we call as full stack development. So a person who enjoys coding, maybe it's at the front end or maybe it's at the back end. So whichever website you visit, whichever app you use, they're all being created under this umbrella, wherein we term it as full stack development. So I hope I am audible here.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay, great. So it was just a small check. So similarly, taking it forward, we talk about the components of the curriculum of BTech that we are offering here at North Cap University, and we basically talk about. So I think Dr. Kavita can now take it up because I think there is no problem at her end in terms of internet issues. So Dr. Kavita, would request you to take it forward.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Jyotika, for answering the question and the query so beautifully. Uh, Coming back to the scheme that we offer or the curriculum that we have at the North Cap University, we have our core computer science courses wherein we teach all the core courses of the computer science. Then we have the specialization program electives wherein we teach the specialization courses in a particular track. We are teaching liberal art courses. We have compulsory foreign language. We have solving and design thinking, and the entire focus is basically on project based experiential teaching learning pedagogy. I truly believe that any engineering student should have three important skills, three important components basically: the attitude, skills, and knowledge. And I'm truly glad that the entire academic framework of the North Cap University enhances and works towards the enhancement of all these three components. So over to you, Jyotika. And to add on to it, we started up with the entire journey from offline teaching to online teaching. Now you must have been using certain online platforms also. So what is that? That again have been developed by the computer engineers, the full stack engineers. There have been data scientists behind that who are analyzing the marks and all those figures that are being generated by that data. Where that data is being stored, that is stored on cloud. So all these things you have been using as a part of your life. And at the North Cap University, we migrated from offline teaching to online teaching. And I feel proud to say that we were totally prepared for this migration. It's not just going about online teaching. I think it's about the holistic approach to online teaching. Before starting up with the online teaching, firstly, we need to evaluate basically the current scenario, what the current scenario looks like. It has a lot of uncertainty. There is a lot of fear everywhere. There are safety issues. Financial constraints are emerging everywhere. So, this is the current scenario that we are living in. We analyzed the current scenario and then we started up with our complete methodology for online teaching. So, what we did was we analyzed 4 parameters or 4 dimensions for online teaching. What are these 4 parameters? The first parameter is the right infrastructure. Second is effective student engagement. Third is blended teaching methodology. And fourth, very important, is mental health of students and staff. So we worked in all these 4 scenarios. And what happened was, regarding the first scenario, when we talk of infrastructure support, we are a completely 100% e-governed campus. We had all the infrastructure in place. We had our learning management system, we had our online test management system, we had our ICT based tools for video conferencing, virtual lab setup. So all these things were in place. Our faculty was already trained onto using all these things. And our students were using all these platforms and technologies in their day-to-day life. So they were at very much ease with using these technologies. So ease of use of technology is also again a very important component to switch to a particular technology, which we had a comfort since we were using all these technologies from last so many years. Then coming over to the effective student engagement, a very important thing towards holistic approach to online teaching. So how we adopted for online student engagement is, first is we used certain interactive tools like whiteboards and stylus to give the complete blackboard classroom experience to the students. Then the timetable of online cannot be strictly followed with offline. We knew that. We changed our timetable as per the needs of online learning. Gamification again is very important thing to engage our students into the teaching learning process. Regular assessments we always conduct. Then there are multiple other factors that we need to consider. The one is flexibility, and you need to have empathy. We need to understand that the students and faculty are going through very tough times of their life. So we basically gave them all the flexibility and support during our classes also. We conducted student surveys. Our online mentor program was there to always listen to the students, because listening, I think, solves major problems in life. So we listen to them. We try to sort out their queries. So that is how we try to make our student engagement to be more effective. The third important parameter that we can talk of is the blended learning pedagogy that we were using earlier also, but we have extensively used it during the last 1.5 months of our online teaching. We tied up with Coursera, we tied up with Swayam and NPTEL for their online platforms, and that actually has diminished the boundaries, and we have been able to provide the best of the resources to our students in terms of all the courses. So we have adopted the blended learning methodology and pedagogy in all our courses now. The last parameter that we focused is the mental health of students and staff. Last but not the least, very, very, very important, because we realize that all of us are going through the toughest of the times we had ever seen in our life. And in fact, the world is struggling to come out of it. So what we thought of is, firstly, our NCU medical officers were available for our students and staff 24/7 to give them any consultation they need for. And that was really helpful, because for small things, you cannot now move out to a doctor. We would simply just connect to them, ask for the prescription, ask for the medicine, and it was very helpful. So it gave a lot of comfort to our students and staff. Then, to reduce and relieve the stress levels of our students, we had our meditation. We tied up with a meditation center, and a meditation app was given to all the students and staff. I hope, and we've got very positive reviews from the students and faculty, that they have been able to reduce their stress levels with this app. Then, as I told, regular interaction with the students and staff. If you interact, if you talk to somebody, that solves some of your major problems. So interacting with the students, giving them comfort, and giving comfort to the faculty members has been a regular process we've adopted. Then we organize certain stress management sessions with a psychologist to give the intricacies of how to manage the stress. And last, again, not the least, we try to channelize the energy of the students, because they are filled with a lot of energy. Now, since they are at home, they need to be engaged in certain things. We channelize their energy by, organizing various big level events. And the outcome is they have been able to organize very good events, wherein they were able to cross the boundaries of India, and they were able to attract very good speakers. We could attract very good participation also for many of the events that have been organized by our students and staff. So this is just a glimpse of some of the events organized by our students during the lockdown period. And it feels immensely proud to say that we have been able to adapt to this online teaching pedagogy in such a short span of time, and we have been able to give it a holistic view, a 360-degree view towards online teaching, and all our faculty and students are enjoying this experience. Over to you, Jyotika. Thank you.
Kavita ma'am, can you continue? I would actually like to introduce Sharda ma'am again, because she has joined
Okay.
us with the audio.
Okay.
Ma'am, can you speak?
Yeah, I can speak. Am I audible?
Yeah, Dr.
Yes,
Sharda.
ma'am.
Okay, can I start now? Sorry for the bad connection. Now I'm putting off my camera to save the bandwidth.
Yes, ma'am, you can start.
Okay. So we were talking about electronics and communication engineering. And one of the specialization in electronics is embedded systems and VLSI design. India semiconductor market is one of the fastest growing industry now, and almost 170 semiconductor companies are present in India, and more many to come. And this is as per the source of Ministry of Communication and Information Technology. The expected growth is approximately 7% by 2015. VLSI itself is a established field, and there is a lot of growth because of the new technologies coming up like machine learning, automation, and IoT. These technologies need not only the programs and the softwares are not required for these technologies, but these are to be converted into chips so that these can be run. And to compute the speed ups, these technologies are to be converted into VLSI. Am I audible clearly?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
Dr. Sharda.
Okay. So because of these technologies coming up, machine learning requires big chips and IoT requires mini chips. So lot of a big range is available to design the VLSI chips. And Government of India's focus is also on this industry. They have come up with new electronic policy to boost the VLSI industry. Make in India campaign and Skill India campaign is going to help a lot in this company in the coming future. So future belongs to VLSI engineers, and the company you name in the world, those are available now in India. If you name Intel, Cadence, Mentor Graphics, Apple, every company is available here. And because of COVID-19, the chances are more companies will be coming in the electronics manufacturing hub, that is Bangalore and Noida, I think. Then if we talk about mechanical engineering, so mechanical engineering is dealing with the automobile industry, but robotics and automation is the new thing. And one need not to have only the mechanical engineering degree, but they should have the robotics and automation specialization also. So robotics is, you all understand, it is like the, if some work was done by the humans, then it can be replaced by the robotics. And automation clearly is a group of programs and the new technologies like IoT, cloud computing, those can be combined with the automobile industry to make it automatic. So everything can be made automatic, and the trend is changing nowadays. I would like to talk about the market trends in mechanical engineering. The requirement for mechanical engineers is expected to grow at 9% by the year 2026. As Dr. Kavita talked about Industry 4.0, so the focus is on Industry 4.0, 3D printing, interconnected machine, industrial Internet of Things, so energy systems, and many more. So as you can see, like Dr. Kavita talked about the computer systems, and I'm talking about the core engineering branches. No branch is working alone. They all are interconnected together. And if you know one skill, if you are doing mechanical engineering, you need to know about the Internet of Things also, and Industry 4.0, the automation, the programming, everything is related. Then computation and coding skills are required in case of mechanical engineering also. So if you know cloud computing, additive manufacturing, technical writing, coding, and generative design, so with the help of computer aided design, you can make your programs, you can make your systems, and make the system automatic. If you talk about the robotics and automation market, so as we can see, if you compare 2018 to 2025, the human involvement is decreasing and machine involvement is increasing. So the market growth, it is very futuristic. The robotics market was valued at USD 39.72 billion in 2019, which is expected to reach by 25% every year. And with an uptick in robotic sales from 2011 to 18, the buzz around robotics is loud. The market for industrial robots is also growing by 90% per annum. Similarly, we have another core engineering branch, that is civil engineering. And especially nowadays, we are talking about the smart cities and infrastructure development. So the initial phase is the infrastructure development to make the city smart. And smartest does not only involve the structure, it involves the IoT, the systems, all the things are connected together, the clouds, everything is involved. So no branch is alone. So you need to have knowledge for everything. And when you are going to study civil engineering curriculum, it means you will be having the coding skills, you will be having the cloud computing skills also there, right? So this the market trends, if you see about the civil engineering, 50% of Indian population, that is 814 million, is expected to live in urban areas by 2050. And the smart city mission of government of India, so that is going to help a lot for civil engineers. The government of India has launched rupees 103 trillion infrastructure projects where civil engineers are required. Schemes like Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana for housing all for all by 2022, and under government scheme Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Railway Mission, 11 cities to be equipped with intelligent transport system and metro rail projects. So there is a lot of opportunity available for civil engineering graduates to contribute in promoting slum rehabilitation. As you know, this is mission of government of India, and affordable housing for weaker section of the society. So overall, you can see every branch is interrelated. It is interdisciplinary type of thing. If you see curriculum of any of the branches, they all are having courses related to coding, related to automation. So all are linked to each other. So that's all about the core engineering branches. If anything you want to know, you can ask the questions. Thank you.
Yeah. So I think all of you majorly covered, how the digital learning solutions have actually captured the market, and they are the new ways of bringing innovation to the curriculum. And I think all the branches are equally growing and equally doing well, because this nation needs engineers on a broader set, I should say. So thank you, Professor Raghavendra. Thank you, Dr. Kavita and Dr. Sharda, for putting up your thoughts on the table. So I would like to open the floor for the questions. So I request the host by College Dunia to take up this webinar forward. And if any of the attendees having any sort of question, if they can ask, maybe we are open to all the questions they may shoot.
Ma'am, as I can see, there are a couple of questions in the Q&A section, which are being
Yeah.
answered by Ms. Amanpreet ma'am. So I would request the panelists if they can shift to the answered question and personally answer some of those questions. I think that would be great.
Yeah, sure. So this basically one of the panelists basically asked one question that we all have been. I mean, he has personally been hearing that doing engineering is not very not very up in the market these days. Some people told him that. So Dr. Sharda, you have already answered that question, but I would like to request Professor H.P. Raghavendra also to throw some light onto this question. If, sir, you want to add something to this question, because somebody feels
Yes,
that,
yes.
that engineering is not in that much trend these days, because that is something that he has heard from some of his maybe colleague or friends. So can you throw some light on that?
Ma'am, I think Raghavendra sir has been disconnected due to internet connection issue. So,
Yeah.
uh,
So I think Dr. Sharda, you can maybe throw some light on this as you have answered this question in the panel also.
Sure, I think this is from Pushpindra. Pushpindra,
Yeah.
if one's focus is only to have engineering degree, then it will be a really a waste of time. But you have to skill yourself. Just like we mentioned, everything is depending on the disruptive technologies nowadays. So must have to gain. One must gain the skills. They must be proficient in one particular area. You choose any, be it Internet of Things or cloud computing or data science or civil engineering, smart city infrastructure, anything. But you have to be a skilled professional in that area. Then only it will help you in future. Otherwise, it purely will be a waste of time.
Yeah, so I think Dr. Sharda has very well answered this question, and I hope Pushpinder, I mean, your doubt is now cleared. So, Dr. Kavita, one of the students, I think his name is Karthikeyan, and he is really interested into ethical hacking. And some of the other students was also inquiring about cyber security. So, one of the domains that CSE is offering. So, he basically wants to correlate ethical hacking with cyber security, I think. Can you throw some light on this?
Yeah, sure. The cybersecurity specialization that cybersecurity and forensics specialization that we are offering at our CSE department, basically ethical hacking is a part of it. It's just one course that's a part of our cybersecurity specialization, which covers the panorama of other areas related to cybersecurity and forensics. So if you're really interested in cybersecurity, yes, it's a good thing to go ahead with cybersecurity specializations. And these specializations are crafted in this way only. All these specializations, they have their future job prospects, but what you need to figure out is your interest, your passion, where you are interested in. So if you see your passion in a particular domain or your a specific area, then choose that specialization that interests you, that would help you in the long run to build the right set of skills and knowledge.
Another question for the computer science domain, Mohammad Arham wants to ask what is actually meant by programming in computer science engineering. So again, over to you, Dr. Kavita.
Okay, programming is, I think, going to become the new language for everybody. I say everybody means everybody, not specifically for computer engineers. Now the programming is starting from, I don't know from which years in the school. We have not studied, but now our children are studying programming from fifth or sixth standard, and Python or C, C++. These are the languages that come in. So it's a new language for all to know, not specifically for computer engineers. Computer engineers definitely are going to use it for the bigger things to achieve, for creating the softwares. But a little bit of adaptability towards the programming languages is now expected for mechanical engineer, for civil engineer, for everybody now. I hope I've been able to address your query.
Yeah, I hope, Arham, you got the idea. And also, there is again another query by Pushpendra. Thank you, Pushpendra, for being so active and asking questions on behalf of so many people sitting here. So, Pushpendra basically wants to ask something about civil engineering. Raghavendra sir, am I audible to you? Are you there with us?
Ma'am, Raghavendra sir is not here. I think
Okay.
there's a internet connection issue.
Okay, no issues. So maybe Dr. Kavita or Dr. Shada, any of you can take up. So he asks, after the opening, I mean, when this lockdown period will be over, he basically feels that the opportunity of civil engineering jobs, I mean, would be little challenging in the market. So Dr. Shada, can you take up this question for him? So he basically
Sure.
wants to know whether there would be job opportunities for civil engineering or not in the market.
Yes, Pushpendra, there will not be any problem with any of the engineers like civil engineer, computer engineer, or any type of engineer. There will be lot of opportunities. Even nowadays, for this batch also, every day we are getting options from many of the companies for the placement, and our placement season is on. So similarly for 2021 batch, there will not be any problem for any branch of engineering.
Great, great, great. So, do believe in the fact that, as I'm mentioning again and again, that this nation is going to need engineers even more than before, because we are the ones who bring a change in the nation, and of course, we have to do something to basically make us all come out of this pandemic situation, bring up new products, bring up some innovative ideas, and that's how you can excel. So also we have one question from Madhan. He wants to ask, would there be placements for the batch 2021? So I think there is some predictive analysis that has to be done now. So Dr. Kavita, you can, I think, take up this question. He basically wants this answer that what do you think? Would 2021 batch would have placements in the market or not?
Yes, definitely. The things are not going to stop. And we at the North Cap University, we have already started up with the placement process. And from now onwards, only we are receiving job requirements from various companies as well.
Yeah.
So we are not facing basically any issues with the placements. We are providing with 95% of placements approximately for all the streams of engineering.
Right, right. So another interesting question from Pushpendra that I think I would also like to answer. He basically wants to know what is the difference between coding and programming. So Pushpendra, since I also come from computer science background, so just to let you know that coding is basically when you write various lines of code in order to create some application or maybe a program. Whereas if you talk about programming, it is not only involving coding, it also involves other few tasks. For example, you analyze the algorithm, you implement the algorithm, you understand that what should be the data structure behind it. So I think, I don't know you know about data structure or not, but if you will search a bit about data structures, that has something to do with the programming, not with the coding. So that's how the difference lies, and it's an interesting question. Thank you for asking this particular question. Also, do we have other questions? I think, okay, so Pratham is asking, ma'am, which is going to be a good course between civil engineering or computer science engineering, and which is going to have a good placement in future? So Dr. Sharda and Dr. Kavita, both of you can have views on this individually, because Dr. Kavita, you come from computer science background, and Dr. Sharda, you come from electronics, and I think, of course, you have some knowledge and insights about civil as well. So come on, let's answer this now.
So, being a computer science head, I'll definitely vote in for computer science. But I'll say that pursue your passion. Wherever your
Yeah.
passion is, wherever you can excel in life, that is more important.
And I think all the domains are very much interdisciplinary these days. One or the other domain is, of course, connected these days. So I think just go wherever your passion lies. So, Dr. Sharda, would you like to say something on this?
I second that, because everything depends on your interest. So we have explained everything about all the branches. So first try to understand where your interest lies. Otherwise,
Yeah.
all the branches have equal opportunities available in the market. All depends on your skills.
Yeah, yeah. And also, just to add a few points for all the attendees here, you can also anytime visit our website, which is basically ncuindia.edu. So you can have the information of all the courses there, and the admission procedure is also open for 2020 batch. So in case of any queries, you can also go to the admission query tab and you can put in your inquiry. People from the university will get back to you. So, since few of you must be confused about, what happens in which branch and what should I choose up, so I think scrolling through website might help you. And do we have other question? I think we have answered most of the questions. So, yeah. So I think most of the questions are all answered now. So, if you want to say any goodbye notes to the attendees, most welcome to say so.
One question still remains unanswered. Can engineer do their business in this field? Can
Okay.
engineers? So I would like to add to it that since the domains of engineering are now getting totally interdisciplinary, and we at the North Cap University have entrepreneurship as a course also. If you have inclination towards the business side, then definitely yes. Many of our students have come up
Hmm.
with very good, ventures, their own ventures. So definitely that enhances your skill set doing engineering and building on the interest, whatever you have, in which business you have, you can always use that skill set to take it further.
Yes.
I want to add something here. Yeah, in NCU we have our startup ecosystem established. So a lot of help is given by the university side also. How to write your proposal, how to go ahead. So you are guided at each and every step.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have an incubation center as well, wherein the funds are provided to the students for incubating their project ideas.
Yes. So another very important and very relevant question a student should ask has actually come up from Anurag. He wants to know about placements of the university. So Dr. Kavita and Dr. Sharda, both of you can focus upon the placement scenario in CSE and EC respectively, maybe.
Yeah, sure. As Dr. Kavita mentioned, for all engineering branches, we have 95% placement record. So 2020 batch also have got 95% students are already placed, and for rest 5%, the process is still on. So there will not be any problem in the coming years also.
Yeah. And can you share some insights about CSC placements, particularly, Dr. Kavita?
Yeah, we have, uh, the companies start coming from the last week of July, wherein we start our academic session from around 25th or 26th of July, last week of July. And every week, I think two or three companies are coming, because every company takes 2 or 3 days for their complete placement cycle to, to go on. And around I think in first 2 or 3 months, majorly 80% of the students are placed. And by the end of December or so, while they are in 7th sem only, uh, while they're in 6th sem only, I think the 95 more than 95% students get placed in computer science with very good packages and in very good companies like Deloitte, Ernest and Young, Nagarro. So, Genpack, all these companies are taking the students, Yatra. So all these companies are taking students from our university, and our students are pretty, we score very high in terms of employability for our students.
Yeah, just to add to what Dr. Kavita has said, because I think the major success reason lies in the fact that we have an in-house school of professional attachment that is solely responsible for helping the students to get internships as well as placements. Also, even in this during COVID-19 pandemic situation, our more than 50% students have already got their internship through the universities. School of Professional Attachment along with the departmental efforts. So I think the School of Professional Attachment is the one that helps a student not only to get into a company but also helps a student to groom himself, that
Yes.
how should he actually land up to a company and behave ethically. So another very interesting question. Who has asked this? Okay, Pratham has asked this question. He says, "Ma'am, as per this lockdown is going on, will this affect the syllabus of the courses?" So we can tell the situation of our students these days, that how much they have been really feeling, they have been waiting to get classes over, because we started our online classes right from 16th of March and we are still on with it. And Dr. Kavita, I think you can throw some light on the online teaching and the coverage of the syllabus particularly.
Yes, I think the government notification came on 13th for the closure of all
Yeah,
the educational institutions
yeah,
till 30th of March.
yeah.
But we, as a tech savvy institute, we started our online teaching from 16th of March only, and till this week we are our semester is going on, and our courses are we have not reduced our courses at all. Rather, we have supplemented all our courses with the MOOC courses through Coursera and NPTEL and Harvard. So all our students are pretty much engaged with all the courses with no reduction, absolutely no reduction in the course content.
Yes, I totally agree. And then Anurag asked another interesting question. So we, I think, have 2 minutes to go. So he
Okay,
says,
I'll
how much
answer quickly.
focus? Yeah. So he
I'll answer
says,
quickly. How much
absolutely,
focus on the practicals?
practical.
Right.
Yeah.
All our courses, Anurag, what we are doing is, in our first year we have basic science courses, engineering courses, our coding course, and problem solving and design thinking course. In our second year we start with the specializations, and our batch size of the students is around 25 to 30 students for all the classes. So that we can have one-to-one interaction with the students. The students are bringing their own laptops, working, the classes, no, there are no separate labs and theory classes. It's all blended now. The theory and, the students are taught there and students are practicing there and then. And then in the third year, we, engage industry mentors with the students for the projects. So when the industry people are mentoring the students for their projects, so then obviously the outcome is going to be very good. And for all our courses, they are project based, experiential, teaching, learning, pedagogy is what we follow at the North Cap University. So it's no courses without practical. So it's all clubbed, theory and practical clubbed. Nothing just theory
Right.
at you.
Right, 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 right. So I think now all the questions are over and the attendees are pretty much satisfied. That I believe that is why we are not being bounded by all more questions. So I now may ask College Dunia to, I mean, shall we end up this session or do we have some more questions coming up, or how
Ma'am,
to
I
go about
think
it?
we can wait for a couple of minutes because Raghavendra sir is also joining us in a couple
Absolutely.
of minutes. He wants to actually say something at the end of the webinar.
Absolutely. Right. Okay, okay. Okay, okay, great. So, I mean, in the meanwhile, Professor Raghavendra joins us. So, there have been few, questions about Industry 4.0 particularly. So, since, I mean, these are buzzing words these days, but I do understand that many of you are new to these words, and it actually confuses us a bit when we hear all these terms together, when we see different universities offering different specializations. So just to add to it, that Industry 4.0 is a bigger umbrella term, and under that bigger umbrella term, all these different specializations are falling. And to be very honest, all the domains are related to each other in one or the other ways. So just go by your interest and just pick up whatever you want to pursue. And Dr. Kavita would you like to highlight some of the specialization aspects that we at NCU are following? For example, we do not force a student right to go for specialization in the first year
Yes.
itself.
Yes,
So,
what we are following at the North Cap University is first year is common across all the specialization and across all the streams of engineering as well, so that you can decide in the first year go ahead. We give you boot camps, we give you various workshops to figure out where your interest lies in. It's not that from the very first day we expect that you are mentally prepared with which specialization to go in. At the end of first semester, after we give you ample workshops and trainings and boot camps, then we expect from you to choose one specialization. And later on also you have the option of moving from one specialization to the other, because specialization basically means that you are studying the electives in a particular flow. Otherwise, in majorly all the engineering colleges, the students are, picking up any elective course. But if you follow a particular track, a particular story that is behind a particular specialization, that obviously enhances your skill set. Obviously, there are courses which are common across various specializations also, and you can move from one specialization to the other specialization if you want. So that is also the provision. I hope I have been able to address that query.
Yeah, I agree. I think so that the question has been answered well. Also, Dr. Sharda, one student asked this question, though we answered him, but I would still like you to answer. So he basically wanted to take up his career in the field of robotics. So can you just help him, like what specialization can he or she pick up so that he makes up his career in robotics?
Yeah, sure. So, as we say, it is automation. Robots are used for automation. So, IoT is going to play a very important role in this area, because IoT is like all devices, all sensors getting data and then making everything automatic and putting all the data on the clouds. And if you are interested in automobile industry, then IoT plus robotics and automation, so you can go for mechanical engineering or electronics engineering with specialization either in IoT or robotics and automation. So both are equally good if the robotic if you have interest in robotics.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
yeah.
I also would like to add the efforts that the Department of EC these days has been taken up to conduct those workshops on drones, because this is something really interesting and usually not find in the you will not find it in the market very easily. So you can, I think, also throw some light on that till the time Dr. Raghavendra joins us. So just
Yeah,
taking a pause, I'd like to ask the host of the College Dunia, has Professor Raghavendra joined us? Okay, so we'll wait. Dr. Shada, you can take up that particular scenario on the drones till then.
yeah, as we can see, even nowadays during this COVID-19 pandemic, we can see how important drones are and the role they are playing. So drones are going to be, it's a futuristic area, and lot of applications the drones will be needed. So we are taking skill development courses in drones. So our students from all the branches of engineering, they are getting enrolled in it, and they know the mechanical and the electronics part about the drones and how the drones are programmed, how the drones are flown, the virtual pilot training on drones that is happening. So this is a very interesting area if you are interested in robotics, automation, and even the oil exploration. The companies Adanis and Ambanis, they are also going into drone technologies. So a lot of thing is happening in this area. Very futuristic,
Yeah,
I must say.
yeah. True. Absolutely, Dr. Sharda. Coming back to you, Dr. Kavita again. So, wanted to ask you one thing. I mean, I think this must be coming in most of the attendees' minds. So, how would you be basically giving the degree of BTech CSE? If he or she chooses up a specialization, would he be getting a degree of that specialization only, or would he be getting something separately, or what?
So what we are doing is every whatever specialization you choose in, you will be getting the degree of BTech CSE plus an additional certificate of that specialization would be given to you if you complete all the courses pertaining to a specialization. But if you choose to do some courses from one specialization and some courses from the other specialization, then you will end up receiving the BTech CSE degree only without the additional certificate of that particular specialization. So the
Right,
degree
right,
that you are receiving is BTech CSC only, with an
right,
additional certificate if you complete all the courses pertaining to that specialization.
right. So it seems that we are, having some rapid fire round or something. Coming back to Dr. Sharda once again. So one student basically is, interested in knowing about the placement aspects of electrical engineering. So before I hand over this platform to you, just to add one thing to Rajbir's question, Rajbir, as far as placement scenario is concerned, you can definitely rely on NorthCap University because we do, again mentioning, we do have a separate placement cell in the university. You can go to the website and you will see it by the name of School of Professional Attachment. Therein, you see the entire list of companies that are visiting us. For example, for electrical and electronics engineers, we have companies like Cadence, we have companies like IBM coming up in the campus, Deloitte is coming up, Orange is coming up. So many such firms are coming up in the campus, and you can go and check the website, and the real data is given to us, given there on the website. So over to you, Dr. Sharda, and particularly you can talk about electrical engineering placement aspects.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Jyotika. So, as electrical engineering is concerned, a lot is happening in NorthCap University. The only thing is the domains are changed. Earlier, it was telecom industry which was booming, but now it is changed. It is now IoT and the VLSI designing, embedded system, and the electrical vehicles coming up. So, lot of our placement is happening in R&D unit of Exicon Tele Systems and the electrical driven companies, and a lot is happening in the companies like Deloitte and EY, and there are companies coming up related to VLSA design, which is Intel, Cadence, Mentor Graphics, ST Microelectronics. So almost 95% of our students get placed at the end of the session, and the rest 5% they get placed within 1 year of their graduation. So it is the placement as far as NCU is concerned is not a problem for the electrical engineer. Thank you.
Great, great, wonderful. Yeah. So Bhavna wants to know about aerospace engineering, and some other person also wanted to know about chemical engineering. So at Northcap University, we do not have aerospace and chemical, but yeah, we always welcome you to be a part of other programs that we are offering. So you can just go to the website and you can check. And in case you feel that your interest is drifting in any one of those particular courses, we are always welcome to have you with us. Okay, so I think all the questions are done now. If any of the attendees wants to ask any of the questions, you can surely write it in the question answer panel. Until then, another very important point to mention to all the attendees, I think you all should not panic during these times because this is the situation and the time will definitely pass. And most of the universities, and for example, we have taken several initiatives to somehow talk about your admissions, etc. And the placement scenario is also going on in the university very smoothly, and internship scenario is also going on very smoothly. So don't panic. Of course, you will
I
get
think now it is
admission in
on
the.
now.
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Huh. Yes, yes. Okay,
So
now
VC sir, am I audible?
can I get in, madam? Jyotika, madam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible. Am I audible?
There is a ending.
Okay. No, no issues. So VC sir, am I audible?
Hello.
Sir,
Yes,
you are
yes, you are
audible.
audible.
So, Professor H.B. Raghavendra, few of the students want to
So
know
during
about the
discussion,
placement.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
I just wanted to,
So, few students want to know about the aspects of civil engineering, especially after this lockdown. What do you think the scenario
please.
would be as far as the placements are concerned?
Am I audible, madam? Am I
Yes, sir.
audible?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
I
Am I
think
audible
your
now?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Yes, can I speak now?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Yes, yes. So I learned that some students want to know. So you are talking about something. I think during that time again I got disconnected. I
Yes,
hope
sir.
that they wanted to know whether to pursue engineering at this juncture, correct?
So one question is
So here
definitely
I
that.
have a few things. Huh.
And another question is
Okay.
students want to know about the placements aspects of civil engineering right after this lockdown will be over.
Yes, yes. Okay. Let me answer both the questions. Hope I am audible. The first part
Yes, sir.
is, of course, the engineering as on the date and in future, engineering is the best option for everybody. In the sense, 40 more than 40 to 45% of the total job market is in the engineering field directly. And once you become an engineer, you can become an entrepreneur, you can become a manager, you can become a technology scientist, and all other things also. So, once you become being an engineer, it will create a platform to become whatever you wanted to do. So, hence, the engineering is the best option. And being an engineer means you will be in that 40 to 45% market, job market directly. And if you see the statistics, the country is investing in the development of infrastructure, and more than 50% of its complete GDP is invested there. So the engineers are the one who does everything. Maybe I think in the during the discussion, people have thought about the smart cities. They have thought about the intelligent structures and so many things, including the Industry 4.0. Industry 4.4, everything is covered in that umbrella, and all disciplines would come. I think as on date, more than 16 lakh students have appeared for are going to appear for JEE in the next month. So the engineering is the best option as the job opportunities are there. The next thing is about the civil engineering. Civil engineering, of course, I can say a few things. All engineering is changing and adopting. Maybe at this point of time, civil engineering is also changing and adopting newer technologies. So this adoption will bring that particular specialization to force. And then immediately after the lockdown, see, there are so many things that will resume, and the government is on its way for the engineering design and the promotion. And I am very hopeful that the infrastructure will be taken up in a big way to enhance the comfort of the society, and they are going to get the job. Civil engineering includes many specializations, and now smart city, then the intelligent structures, everything will be included. And civil engineering is now in the umbrella of engineering. It will get the focus, and yeah, another 4 years, definitely the job prospectus will be more. I think they have to get that, seal that opportunity and move ahead with this part of engineering. Thank you, madam. I think anything else they wanted to know? I think some chemical
No, sir, I
engineering,
think
something. What is that question? I think I
yes,
was
one question.
just.
One question. Yeah, so he basically wanted to know about chemical engineering. That was the only question, sir.
Okay. Chemical engineering. See, chemical engineering is about the processes and the exploration and the reactions. So this chemical engineering is very relevant in the energy scenario and also the pharmaceuticals. And of course, the chemical engineering, if you have an interest in that particular, see, for every human being, interest is the supreme. If he has got interest, he can go to the chemical engineering also, which is very, very essential in the pharmaceuticals and also and so that is also a good branch. Yeah, I think
Okay, so I think we
I was
have
out of the
answered all the
connection for
questions asked by the attendees,
most of the time, but I understand it into
and I
the
think
NASCAP University, where it is one of the premier universities. Hello, Jyotika.
yes, sir, yes, sir.
So,
So I think,
hello.
Dr. Jyotika, we have answered all the queries of
Yes,
all
sir,
the
yes,
You
sir.
say
Your
that.
voice was
Hello.
breaking. Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Raghavendra
I think
sir,
there is a lag.
your yes, sir, there is a lag. Ma'am,
Yes,
Jyotika
yes.
ma'am, I would request to now end the webinar.
Yeah,
I think all the questions have been answered.
sure. Yes, so I think all the questions have been addressed, and we are always open to other queries as well. One can definitely visit the website ncmedia.edu and you can ask further questions. And in case you want to talk to the faculty of respective departments, we can do surely help you with that as well. And if someone wants to get in touch with the placement department, you're always welcome to
I would like to thank everyone. Please, now this webinar has been ended. Thank you all. You may exit the window.